Yeah, hell yeah, bro. I'm like, all right, that was great. Holy crap, yeah. That was good.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Let's get some music rolling here. Oh, that's dark. That's dark. Let's brighten that up a little bit. This free, I shouldn't say free, licensed music, I should say, just copyrightable. Not bad. I can jam on this. All right. How's everybody doing today? How is everyone doing today? So we're also we're testing out the new fiber internet we got today. Hopefully, I don't know if the streams are going to look any better. I honestly did a little bit of test streaming earlier, and I was running through some stuff, and I don't know if it looks any better. I'm streaming at 50,000 bit rate versus the 20,000, but you know, fantastic-ish, Oil Slick. Well, I hope you had a good day. Hope you had a good day. For doing good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. I'm in a good mood right now. I figured. So, being in the good mood, and I don't really feel like doing any sim racing right now, so, I mean, unless I, you know, run out of things to talk about or talking points, maybe, and I still got some energy, I'll jump into some streaming, but, or some video games, that is. But for now, this is going to be music louder than my voice. Hold on, let me check. How about now? Is this good? This is better. I want you to be able to hear the music. I want to set a little tone, you know. But obviously, can't have the music play over me, or else what's the point of me streaming and you just not listening to better music? But one thing I noticed is that my my YouTube feed that I watch for reading chat is doesn't fall behind with this internet, which I wouldn't have thought that was the internet. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Just waiting the week out for an update, hopefully. Yeah. I have no idea when the next one's coming, but I would say by the end of next week is probably a good time to expect it. I do know that they are, so they've told me anyway. I don't know. It's all like speculatory essentially, but they're going to be slowly moving over to a more bigger patches less frequently. While I agree with that, I also disagree because I do think that the connectivity issues should get prioritized and fixed. They should be like almost, I don't want to say test patches, but here's the reality of like the situation when it comes to that. They can test as much as they want in-house. There's just not enough testers to be able to duplicate an issue like that on a mass scale. From all, and they can test across the world, so it's not like that's the issue. It's just the quantity of people. So the reality is that everything that they may or may not fix has to be beta tested by the community. So that's everything. That's the reality of every game on the planet. That's why you see hotfixes all the time for all sorts of games. They release a big patch or at least an intended to be only one patch, and then right after that there's a hotfix to try and fix a problem that they broke that wasn't caused on, or I shouldn't say wasn't caused on their end, but they couldn't duplicate on their end. Things like that. Well, I only agree if to the point where they fix the connectivity issues. I think people are going to complain no matter what. That's human nature, but at least the momentum stopping and everybody can have fun and continue to have fun. People can host races, they can start their leagues, stuff like that. It's really hard to run leagues. Like, I originally wanted to start some leagues doing this over various games, but I really wanted to do crossplay games. F125 was an option. Problem with F125, though, is although I am very happy that they chose the ongoing business model moving forward and not doing the yearly new game. I really don't like that. And I prefer the whole, hey, here's a bunch of new content. This is how much it costs if you want the new content, but you still have your old game to play. That's the sort of the business model I prefer, and I think most people kind of prefer that. I don't think content should be free. I don't think you should be able to get free. A free DLC is obviously welcome, but you have to pay your employees. So when a DLC comes out, you got to charge for it, or else you're giving away work, Stability, track bugs, replays. Well, the track bugs, I think, are a much easier fix. It'd be one of those things where it's like they're trying to bake other things into the patch as well. So it would realistically, it won't. If everybody just focused on one thing and they only updated the game with just that one thing, they could send out a patch a day, But there's a lot going on, so But the reality is that if you, and I know it sucks to do this, and a lot of people don't want to, because they're hinged to the way the game was marketed, but try and just sort of accept the fact that the game is in early access. That's what you're playing an early access game. It is what it is, Do what you will with that information. That's on you, But yeah. So anyway, I wanted to do something a little different tonight with this, and this is going to be more of like a talking head Q&A style sort of thing, where basically I'm going to open it up to you guys, and we're going to chat, and you guys are going to ask me whatever you want to ask me, and I'll do my best to answer it. And I'll talk a little bit about myself. Priority of this is for you to ask me questions about myself, or anything I might think about something else, or whatever the case is, because I do know that in the sim streaming space, I am much newer. I've only been doing this for almost 3 months now, and that's it. I have been making YouTube content, in quotes, for, say, publicly at a good 10 years. I want to say 2016, 2017 is when I started started listing the videos that I had unlisted. For the longest time, I was worried about uploading racing content of the non-legal nature for fear of it coming back and biting me. And that was before channels like That Racing Channel and 1320 Video, you know, had been fully established and stapled into the YouTube space. You know, and that's one of those hindsight 2020. Wish I didn't pull my punches. Wish I had sent all my content out there and grew what I wanted to grow. Because by the time I actually did start, YouTube was saturated with it. You know, but that doesn't mean that all avenues are closed. And I actually still want to, like, the plan was never to make sim racing on this channel my only bit of content. I wanted to adapt all aspects of racing onto this channel with a heavy emphasis on sim racing, because my plan was to live stream and sim race. That was my sort of my avenue for streaming, because I do like a live audience. I've always liked the live audience. I like making a good video and putting effort in and getting the shots, but I don't like dealing with doing all that effort and then dealing with the algorithm may or may not help you. It may just punish you. You don't know what you're going to get, and that is the nature of YouTube. You know, so there is a part of me that absolutely wants to bring back my podcast and do that as sort of like a special scenario where I continue to do my sim racing streaming, and I also do my podcast, which at the time was prioritized around motorcycles. I would be open to, because I have lots of avenues for all sorts of other motorsports too, for doing a podcast. People doing things in the car world, the, believe it or not, the plane world, jet ski world, stuff like that. But I'd prefer to stay closer to the hip with primarily bikes and cars. But anyway, yeah. Your old ass self needs sleep before work. I don't know how you do this stuff so late. I just don't sleep. That's the reality of the situation. On average, I sleep 4 to 5 hours a day. That's about it. I'll take a power nap every once in a while, like a good half hour, 45-minute power nap, just to sort of recharge and get going. But for the most part, you know, I try to keep it. The good thing about, like, at least this time of year, is that it's I have more time to do this, so I can stream. That's why I've even though I've been streaming a lot off of my schedule, when it's the summertime, there's a good chance I'm going to be streaming on my schedule and my schedule only, because I'm going to be doing actual work inside of that. Now I am reducing my workload, limiting what I do on certain aspects of things, because I want to change up a little bit. You know, obviously I'm incorporating this into it, so I'm not trying to necessarily grind in the motorcycle world. Focus primarily on tuning, less so on mechanics, stuff like that. You know? What's going on, Fway? How you doing, buddy? Should start a sim racing podcast. So the thing is about... here's what I can tell you about podcasting. You don't have to, as the host, really know anything about it. So technically, like, whatever it is that you're interested in, you can be the host and start a podcast and just interview educated people. Now, it does help to be more educated in that industry, because that way you're able to, when someone spews some bullshit, you can be like, hold up, pause, let me stop you right there, and then XYZ information, because misinformation is one of my biggest crutches in life, period. And by the way, Oil Slick, I just want to say thank you for staying neutral today. I appreciate it. There's not a lot of people that do things like that, you know? A lot of people like to bandwagon jump and stuff like that, so I appreciate that. But you know, in general, podcasting is the key to a good podcast. As the host, is the ability to let the do a politics podcast? Absolutely not, sir. I would prefer to stay on the more positive side of content. Trust me, I come from racing. I assure you, anything you see in the sim racing space that you think is toxic, I have seen so much worse. Because picture what you see right now, but it's a video game. Now put it into the real world. Not that sim racing isn't the real world, but let's face it, it's a video game. I hate to use terms like toxic masculinity, but unfortunately it's like the best words to explain what it is. But, you know, I got to think of like a more manly set of words to supplement those, because those are, you know, those have been well shamed, even though from a dictionary standpoint, they are exactly what it is. But, where it's essentially like a bunch of dudes beating their chest nonstop. They're the best at everything. And okay, so one thing I saw, especially in the motorcycle world, was every 3 to 4 years or so, you would see a rotation of the people participating. And then every 3 to 4 years, there'd be a batch of people that thought that they were king shit on Turd Island come out of nowhere. And they were the new fast guy in town, and you know, yippity yappity hoo ha hoo. And I have seen so many of those guys come and go. It's not even funny. But the best way I can explain why I sort of pulled myself away, at least socially, from the motorcycle racing world, is because essentially I lost my nerve. Meaning, all right, so for example, you know, standing mile races. I've done my fair shake of those. On my Busa, do roughly 225 or so in a standing mile. I can tell you that from 200 to 225, you have a lot of time to think about all the things that could go wrong. And I found myself, in the last few years, thinking more about the things that could go wrong than what I was doing. That's how I knew it's time to stop doing this. Because I'm no longer enjoying myself. I'm worried about the possibilities. And that's just an age thing. You know, some people it happens later. Some people, they never lose their nerve. Me, I lost mine or I started to lose mine, I would say probably about 35. And then now I still have the itch because I like competing and racing. But one thing I won't do with sim racing is ever care about being any kind of top tier guy. I'm never going to be the best sim racer. I don't care. I'm not trying to be. This is my escapism and retirement style of racing. This is my way to have some fun and do my thing and get my ass kicked by people who try. And that's really the reality of it. And when I try, maybe I get a little bit better. Maybe I don't. Maybe I have bad days. And I'm fine with that. You know? Let's see. I think we actually have a couple people right now watching from that. Let's see. Bryce Hooper. I'm late. Will Bike Talk ever come back, Evan? I am trying to think of good ways to bring the motorcycle podcast back. I just don't know how to do that in terms of... I have this thing where, like, if I can't do it the right way or perfect, I just don't want to do it. Period. And I'm diving in head first here into the sim racing stuff, or at least from the streaming the sim racing stuff anyway. But basically using what I've known from the podcast in the past. You know, just knowing how to, like, carry conversations and stuff like that. And because there's nothing worse in a podcast when the host has to do all the talking because the guest doesn't speak. Or they're very muted. They're nervous about the live audience, which if I do, that's another thing I'm considering too, if I bring the podcast back doing pre-recorded. But the problem is, when you build your audience, regardless of what it is, around a live audience, you're not necessarily guaranteed to get viewership on videos. People like engagement. There are just people like that. I am someone who likes engagement. I like to look over a chat, see someone say something to me, and I can reply to them, you know? And I don't think this will ever be a big enough channel to the point where you see like the big time streamers where their you know, feeds are just scrolling endlessly with people talking. That's never going to be here, so I'm not worried about that. So for the most part, I think communication will be pretty easy with chat. Let's see. Now I get some of your points. I'm not going to say name. I do get frustration and anger on the nude, and as good as anyone has been for this game, guy's awesome. And the thing is that that's good. And the reality of it, you know, what I saw today was that everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I hope the guy feels better. You know, I'm not wishing any kind of bad on the guy. You know, I know that there's going to be a segment of people that are really going to want a back and forth, dramatic, just whatever. I'm not that guy. Trust me, I've been there in the motorcycle world, and I've eaten into it, and I'm good. Like I said, this is my retirement world. I'm way too over that stuff, you know? That's why when I say some of the things I do about the attacking of you know, comments or of people, the way they speak to people, and it's like you don't get the right to disrespect people. And it's just to see the same thing that I just saw in real racing is like, I just got to learn that it's the internet. Keep your mouth shut, you know? At least when it comes to public forum and stuff like that. When I'm on here, I'll be a little looser with my words because you have to look at someone's YouTube channel like it's their house. They make the rules for the channel, you know? He makes the rules for his, I make the rules for mine, blah, blah, blah. And that's the way it should be, you know? But and no one has the right to go into anybody's house, call this a house, and say what they want and not lose their ability to say it. You know, same goes for a Discord. You have to understand that. That's their house, that's their rules, you got to follow their rules. That's the nature of it. And I mean, listen, it's a shit show in there. It's a total shit show. It is absolutely tribal, wildly tribal, you know. And I don't think it needs to be. It's a video game. I understand there's frustrations. I don't disagree with the frustrations. I think there's better ways to handle it, you know? And that's just my opinion. That's not meant to piss people off. That's not to look down on people. That's just for me to say, I think it could be handled better. That's all, you know? Am I doing any racing tonight? Possibly, Seaberg. Possibly, but we'll see. We'll see how the conversation space goes. That's kind of the sort of the point of what I'm doing here tonight is I feel like just sort of having a little chatty Cathy type night. It's Tuesday night. Tomorrow, although I'm waiting to hear back from one of the guys at Rennsport about where I'm supposed to find these races because I checked inside Rennsport and I couldn't find the listings for the races that are going to be all week. So I'm waiting to hear back on that. But that's technically what I'm going to be doing for the next week, at least during my daytime streams, is streaming a creator series of Rennsport, where it's essentially my competition? I don't know what the word would be for that, where it's got my name on a certain set of races and you just compete in those races. Do you get anything out of it? I have absolutely no idea. I think it's more of like a support the creator thing. I really don't know. I've never done one before, so it's a learning experience for everybody, you know? Let's see. But yeah, some people want a bandwagon and hate for no reason, but some understandings on both ends, I'm sure. Maybe ego's getting involved too. Oh, there's definitely egos involved. I mean, whenever you see, you know, anger and stuff like that, that anger comes from ego, primarily. All emotion does, really. Listen, I got nothing against the guy. He can do it. I don't know what he likes to do, but I personally don't like to do the rage bait stuff. I'll have opinions on things, but I'm not here to start drama. You know, and by the way, a lot of the things I said in the Discord were not directed at any particular person. I am this type of person where when I speak about a particular person, I use their name. But I don't do that. And when I see a bunch of people doing something, I speak broadly. It's never targeted at one. I am not the kind of person, trust me, who talks about a single person and beats around the bush. If I said, hey, Oil Slick, you're being a cunt, that's directed at you. You know? You're not being a cunt, by the way. I'm just using you as an example. Don't take it out of context. You seem like somewhat of a critical thinker, by the way, so I don't think you would take that out of context. But that's my point. If any time I am talking about a person, I will attempt to address that person. And if I'm not addressing a person, it's a broad statement from things I'm seeing. I don't speak in innuendos and things like that. I say what I'm going to say, and that's it. And people won't like it. This is true. Not everybody is going to like my opinion, and that's perfectly fine. You have every right to disagree with me and not like me, and I accept that, and that's cool. But the tribalism stuff is what is, like, frustrating, though, because there's no reason for it. You can have a balanced mindset. It doesn't have to be, like, you know, this person said this one thing I didn't like, so screw everything they say. I don't like them anymore. That's tribalism. And on the opposite, this person said one thing that I really like, so I'm going to disregard now, because I'm now a fan of that person, all the things that I don't agree with, and just, that's the person for me, you know? That's everything we do in the world, and that's humanity. And there's, unfortunately, there's no escaping it. It's always going to be there, and that's fine. That's the way of the world, you know? Let's see. A lot of times fast guys and real stuff come and go as they realize the monetary costs. What do you mean, Oil Slick? Let's see. Skywalker Rider. Evan, I'm still here. I've been watching you since the Tri-State Racing days. I'm a bike guy, but here I am watching you sim race, and closest thing I have to it is Forza 5 on my Xbox. Nothing wrong with that, brother. Nothing wrong with that, and I appreciate you being here. I like it when people say Tri-State Racing. That brings me back. Because originally, this YouTube channel has changed. No, only 3 times. Only 3 times, or 2 times technically. Was Tri-State Racing, then it was EJR Performance, and then it was and now it's EJR Racing. The reason why is that I changed the name of it instead of leaving it, because realistically, I'm not worried about. It's not like I needed a different name to sim race. There's nothing like that. It's I wanted to separate a more casual YouTube channel from my business. EJR Racing is like, I don't want to say brand because that sounds ridiculous. It's kind of cringy, but EJR Racing is technically my social media brand, and EJR Performance is my LLC business where I build race bikes. And I wanted to keep those separate, especially since this YouTube channel was getting away from primarily motorcycle racing and diving more into a broader spectrum of racing, which I would say my original plan for this sort of EJR racing experiment would be 50 to 75% sim racing, 25% bonus content of other forms of real racing. And I understand esports is real. It's a real sport. But there is one thing that will ultimately always separate sim racing from real racing to the point where it's not real, and that's the possibility of the repercussions of doing it. Getting hurt, getting in trouble, depending on what kind of racing you're doing, and then there's obviously always the end of the road, the death. Because if there's one thing that is very refreshing about sim racing, is that you can't die. Well, but not from crashing anyway. You might have a stroke, you might have a heart attack from raging or something like that. You never know. But you can't hit a wall at 200 miles an hour and end your life. You'll just bounce off of it. Keep and hit the reset button, you know? Oil Slick, I'm actually on the opposite front of that. I think the devs communicate too much. I think the mods need to do a better job at creating a social construct for communication. And here's the thing. The whole point of having a mod in, say, a forum, a Discord, whatever the case is so that the people making the game don't have to do the modding of the conversation. That's what mods are for. Because they don't have the time for it. So when I see guys like Rye and other ones jump in there and have to, handle situations that have been just from, rage bait or whatever the case is. And by the way, Oil Slick, it is unfortunate to see, but there are a lot of, spoof accounts in and out of there. I don't know if you heard about the guy who was blatantly cheating today and then he made an account, Soup. So Soup's, apparently he's pretty good. I think I've seen him in 1 or 2 of my lobbies. He's a fast guy. This guy was essentially trolling him and cheating in the process. Bottom line is this. When you open up the world for mods into a game, you open up the world for people to create cheats and exploits. So it's really kind of hard to navigate that. I don't know how to do it, and I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm not someone who speaks ones and zeros in coding. I don't. That's why a lot of games lock down and keep away from modding, especially in the multiplayer competitive space. So it has its fantastic abilities to make whatever you want. The downside to being able to make whatever you want is that you can make whatever you want and punish the player base who's playing fair. So it's a tough conversation to have there. And like I said, I don't have an answer for it. But the reality of the situation, though, is like guys like me, and like where I've opened my mouth where I shouldn't in the Discord, is when the repeat, and I'm not talking about like the bigger names that are much more balanced and then they have like a bad day or something like that. I'm talking about the people that are in there specifically to beat a dead horse and troll and just create chaos. I tend to sometimes open my mouth too much about those guys. And I really realize I just shouldn't. I know better than that. I absolutely know better than that. Been in my fair share of internet arguments, unfortunately, in the racing world. Learned my lesson. Yet, for some reason, I open my mouth and I'm like, why did I just say that? That's only going to go down a rabbit hole of misunderstanding and ridiculousness. But those people, they need to figure out a way to, the mods, they need to figure out a much more balanced but aggressive way. The problem is that with the modding in the Discord, they're worried about banning people or quieting people or whatever, or modding people, I should say, and coming off too aggressive. So what happens is they back off, and then when it goes completely out of control, they're back in, and then they're on the attack. So, and it can come off biased, you know? I mean, let's face it. They do, in my opinion, a decent job of trying to draw the line of, this person's defending the game but said a bad thing. This person's attacking a game but said a bad thing. That should be 1 for 1. I agree. If you punish, regardless of what the point of the conversation is, you punish both sides if they cross the same line. The line in the sand is the line in the sand, you know? But that isn't the way human nature is, and biases will be biases. So it's hard for mods, and it's hard for, I shouldn't say it's hard for mods, it's hard for anybody to be a mod and not have some level of bias in their modding. It's why I would never do it, because I couldn't do it right, period. I could not moderate any kind of conversation unless I didn't have a stake in that conversation. You know, if you're modding for the devs, I don't know if they're being paid. They say they're not, and I believe that, but I don't know. I don't care either way. Bottom line is they were given a position of power, and so they're doing a job for it. So humanity in general tends to, I've given a position of power. How you handle a position of power is going to determine who you are as a person. And people try to do their best, but you usually see things squeak through the cracks. You know, money is a massive way to do it, you know? Yeah. But anyway, though, so there was a point that there was a guy in there today, that the guy that was cheating and trolling Soup in the game made an account on the Discord called Soup, and ironically, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was, I'll give the troll this creativity. They put effort into the troll. Like, this is a pro. This is not this guy's first rodeo in trolling. So Soup, his default picture is Barry Allen, the Flash, right? The real Flash. And it wasn't Reverse Flash that the avatar of the other Soup was, but it was clearly a corrupted evil Flash as their avatar. Both cartoon images. Honestly, as much as that guy is very unwelcome, I appreciate the level of trollability that he got to. Troll needs a girlfriend. I agree. Needs a life. Needs to go outside and quite literally touch grass. But I can appreciate creativity on all fronts. That's all I'm saying. But I'm not... Listen, by no means am I saying I'm justifying the dude. I'm not. Fuck that guy. Seaberg, thank you for the $2. Appreciate that, buddy. It's just difficult. The game needs more work fast. I agree. I have a strange take on time frame versus the game getting fixed. I'll get to that in a second, though. But, so, let's see. Let me scroll back up because I missed a couple comments here. Mods definitely need to ban or mute those who are trolling just to troll, but communicating what is being done or rough timeline stuff, it may help. I agree. I genuinely think the Spark Challenge was a massive, massive mistake. Because the game hasn't changed. So you've to the other guys, because I did watch the stream. Not all of it, but I did watch the interesting bits. I was told, I decided to check it out. I even liked it, honestly. I thought it was pretty entertaining. And the analogy he used was dangling the carrot, and I agree. You dangled a carrot with a problematic game, or interface, whatever you want to call it, and got people to want to play it. I was like, nope. I also know I'm not good enough to win that, so I don't care. But if I was more competitive, I might have tried. But as soon as I found that the game was not going to work out, it is what it is. There's plenty of things that you, for at least even in PMR, that you can create content on if you're worried about the game being problematic. Does it kill momentum when it crashes? Oh, fuck yeah. Absolutely it does. Been there, done that. You've seen it. The devs have seen it. The devs have been in my lobbies when it's crashing. We know it's there, But it was absolutely a mistake, in my opinion, to release that challenge before fixing the interface or the interconnect. Once they do that, okay, I would say a new challenge every week or however often you can get them out as bonus things to do while we're working on fixing other things. As long as you can do them, okay. I don't disagree with releasing them, but you gotta fix the connection problems. That's just got to be fixed. It really does. To the point where, I don't even give a shit about the state of the rest of the game's problems. That is the number one thing. But obviously, I've beaten that horse to the point where it's corroded skeletal system. Even when games don't have no, I understand that. Low and slow. But your name changed on YouTube again. I know that you can still cheat, of course. But I'm just saying, it's that much easier when you open the floodgates to being able to do it like that through mods, Let's see. The bike world was funner 10 plus years ago, in my opinion. I get not wanting to do 200 plus anymore, especially since I now have a daughter. But that said, what are your plans for TBN and the Busa? TBN is retired as hell. That is my show bike. I'm contemplating putting it back to stock wheelbase just to trophy case it. But at the same time, the times I'm going to want to use it for some kind of event or whatever, track event, I'm going to want the ability to hole shot it as hard as I can in first gear and not worry about lifting the bike and doing a backflip. So I'm just going to leave it alone. The Busa, my plan for the Busa is to compete in as many half-mile and standing mile sanctioned events as possible. There's one coming up in June that I'd like to get to. It's actually in North Carolina. Downside is I got to buy a $1,200 leather suit, because regular street gear does not qualify. And I prefer to not get a over-the-counter Alpine Star or something like that suit, because it's going to fit like shit. It's going to add an extra 20 to 30 pounds. I should say 20 to 30. That's probably too much. Probably an extra 15 pounds over, say, like a good Vanson or a Bates suit, where it's primarily designed for the slide, not the bounce, But in straight line racing, you do a lot less bouncing than you would in a circuit race, because there's less objects in the way. Obviously, there's always a risk, but the real way to do it is not come off the bike, But, how's it going for you? What's going on, Saki? It's going pretty good. Had a good day today. Got my fiber installed, AT&T fiber. Got 1,000 up now. No more 35 up. I'll be interested to see if that has any effect on... I know it's not the problem, but I'd be very interested to see if that has any effect on the instabilities of lobbies and stuff like that. Yeah, no, that's the big part of like with the problems with the racing stuff in the I think it's honestly just a generational thing. So like here's the biggest thing. This is a big part of what got me out of racing. You remember growing up or when you aged out of the younger youth competition, they started talking about this very, very strange thing that was handed out for showing up to sporting events called a participation trophy. You guys remember when that first started coming around, right? Now, it's been around for a very long time, but when it started becoming mainstream, does anybody remember when those started being talked about? I'm lagging? Yeah, it's not lagging for me. That must be on Ufway. I'm watching my stream on YouTube. And let's see. Yeah, there's no output issues from Discord either. But anyway, they started introducing this thing called a participation trophy. And we're all in our, later years now, and we're like, what is this? What? Kids are getting trophies for just participating. They're showing up and getting a trophy. Well, guess what, guys? Those people are now adults, and they're now competing in real-life things. They're now sim racing. They're now racing motorcycles. Do you think that maybe, just maybe, the very, very younger generation that never had to actually work for the podium or whatever their competition was, now can't handle the real world and losing? So they're trying to do it with their mouth instead? Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. I tell my boy to throw them away. Hell yes. Good job. Please do. You're trolling. But yeah. Anyway, it changed the game, unfortunately, quite a bit to the point where, like, you're just dealing with more and more, troublesome, problematic people than you are decent people. And it gets exhausting. Oh, I got the money. What money are we referring to, sir? Is there a report system in the game? No, there is not a report. Well, no, wait. I think there might be a report system. There's no ban or... I don't think there's a kick... There's not a kick system. There's no way to kick anybody from a lobby. That needs to happen. The host needs to be able to kick someone from a lobby. More future bike content would be sweet. I'm trying to think of a not confrontational way to make motorcycle content. I will not be... Unless I go to a sanctioned event, I'm going to have to start putting lotion on my nose after I shower, because my nose gets super itchy in the winter when it's dry. Anyway, I'll probably do some, filming and content related stuff to like track events, but the street stuff is over for me, 100%. Is Adam still racing and Rowdy? Rowdy is not. Adam is sometimes. Adam is more casual. He still has his turbo bike, but I think I think he might be throwing in the towel on the turbo bike. It's very problematic to try and keep 500 plus horsepower running repeatedly in a bike. For the things we want, we get the money for it. That's life. That's life. Let's test it. Let's test what, sir? Seaberg. Let's see. Yeah, they handed out T-ball, and we broke them because we know second place was just the first place loser. Exactly. Exactly. Just think, out of all the losers, no one lost ahead of you, referring to second place. Hydrocortisone? I mean, I guess that could work. I just primarily just use lotion. But, yeah. So anyway, there's a couple things I wanted to touch on from today, and they're escaping me. So when I think of them, I'll repeat what I was gonna say, or I'll say for the first time what I was trying to say. Gone. That sailed. I'm done with second and third place. So I think there should be a fifth and a sixth place, but only for like a more national style system. Like when you're in like a regular tournament, it's podium. First through third only. when you start getting to state or like a countrywide sectional style tournament or national or whatever you're competing in, it's nice to have the 5th and the 6th, because the reality is that if you are whatever competition you're in, call it wrestling, whatever it is, because I personally wrestled, so that's why I reference wrestling. It's just where I know the knowledge of the system. There should be a 5th and 6th place, because if you're 6th in the country, you're a badass. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. You are a tough motherfucker. Because being 5th and 6th in the state is hard. And by state, for those of you who might be out of country listening, that's a U.S. thing. Maybe it is some for I'm sure it is for other countries too, but that's primarily how I'm referring to it. Countrywide, if you're 6th in the country, no one has the right to make fun of you for being in 6th place. Because there's thousands of people that you beat. Thousands. What's your reaction to the ZR1X? I think it's incredible. I think it's absolutely incredible. Anytime a street car comes out, mind you, it's a shit ton of money, but then again, so is a real race car. Anytime a production VIN-numbered car is introduced into the world that can beat up on a lot of legitimate race cars, how can you not think it's badass? You know? How can you not? All I want for automotive is the Dodge Viper to make a comeback. I would love to see a Dodge Viper, a big Dodge Viper fan. We'll see. We will see. My buddy Rowdy, who was referenced earlier, his life goal is to get a Gen 5. He's in the process of buying a house right now. His next big spend, his goal is to be a Gen 5 Viper. But he is going down the rabbit hole of teasers for the new potential Gen 6 Viper. Because Ford's been doing a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff with the politics of hiring CEOs or I shouldn't say CEOs, but people in charge of, say, SRT, stuff like that. And they're doing a lot of teasing of the new Viper. I say the new Viper. We don't know if it's real or not, but I think my favorite is still a Gen 2. Still a Gen 2. But yeah. All right, ask me some questions. That's the whole point of this. My coffee's already cold. You know, I remember these things holding my coffee warm a lot longer than this nonsense. With that said, what do you think the future for leader bikes? They're all pretty long in the tooth, at least the Japanese bikes. What's your expectation? The same thing you've been seeing for the past 20 years. Slow, progressive changes. You know, I do think we're gonna exhaust the combustion engine time frame sooner rather than later. I think we're gonna switch over to fully electric. I don't know when that's gonna be. I think motorsport is gonna hold on to it as long as it possibly can. But you know, when you see guys or companies like Chevrolet with the ZR1X come out, you're like, well, maybe we're further away from that than we thought. But the hybrids are sneaking in there. That's their way, you know? We're getting their way in there. They're working into it. I think with each movement forward, it's going to be a little more electric, a little less combustion until the point where it's just electric, you know? Let's see. Not all race cars cost a lot. My friend runs in the Trans Am. See, hold on. That came out of nowhere. That's one thing I like about the flip-up mic. Just send it nice and quiet. Let's see. in a Mustang that was dunked. Roger Eagleton is the driver. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, you can still find your way around building cheaper race cars, or buying cheaper race cars, whatever. But, I mean, how much money do you think it costs to compete in GT? GT3 specifically. I am so-and-so. I want to fund racing in GT3 by myself. How much money do you think you have to spend? As a single person, as a company, whatever. No affiliation whatsoever with GT racing. I want to race in GT3. I'm going to start my own team. It's going to be me, myself, and I. How much money do I have to come up with? Literally, the bikes need one thing. Fireblade needs to go back on the Undertale exhaust. Yeah, maybe. Ducati is now. They went back to it. That's the later 90s hardtop Vipers, the Gen 2, or is that... No, that's the Gen 2. That's the Gen 2. So here, I'll just type it in and show you. Oh. What am I doing? Right here. This is a Gen 2 Viper. This is my favorite kind of Viper. As a celebrity driver, well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's gonna cost money. Doesn't matter, like, it's not a driver or this or that. It's, I want to do whatever it takes to be to go race GT3 right now. I have nothing. I don't have a team. I don't have any licenses. How much money is it going to cost to go race? But I have infinite money, so I can do it. What's it going to cost? Gen 5 is beautiful. Gen 2 is my go-to, though. But there's no denying the capabilities of the Gen 5 Viper. I mean, has anybody here had the privilege of being inside a Viper with a lot of horsepower and just seeing how incredible they are? I don't have any videos offhand, but someone I know in Texas, some of you bike guys know, Will. He has a Gen 5 Viper that makes 1,800 horsepower, and I'm sure now he's well into the 2000s. It's incredible to see how that car hooks on a full-size wheel and a competition DOT tire. It's why I get pissed off when Sims try and tell me that these 500 horsepower cars don't have any grip. Like, yes, they do. If these cars truly don't have any grip, they need to go back and talk to your mechanic and be like, yo, bro, you have no idea how to set this car up. Big horsepower Vipers, especially the Gen 5s, the chassis is incredible for putting down power. It puts down power you would just fundamentally not understand. I don't understand how it puts down that much. We're talking about 4 times as much horsepower as a GT3 car. It putting the power down. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Celebrity driver, a couple million to own the car. Needed parts that are 10 mil for a year. Yeah, well, I'm just saying, low and slow. It's the point that it's doing it. You can't put a cheat code into a real car. It's really doing it. Yes, the people building the car are insanely talented. But talent or not, the car is still doing it. You know? When all the fastest roll cars are all different, Lambo, GTR, Viper. Yeah, I mean, the Lambo's got the biggest advantage because it's all-wheel drive, so it can distribute power a little bit better. But the reality of it is, though, is that even the fastest Lambos, you know, pick the front tires up when they leave, you know. I think I'll jump into a sim right now, just to do some visually entertaining stuff rather than just staring at my boring ass face the whole time. Let me ask you guys. I'm gonna give you guys an option because I don't care. I'm not really here to sim race. I'm just here to sim drive. AMS2, PMR, or Race Room, or Rensport, because I technically should be practicing Rensport right now. Watching an all-wheel drive R35 light front tires is an amazing sight. Absolutely is. Absolutely is. All right, thanks for being here, Oil Slick. Have a good one. Let's see. Rode in a 1200 horsepower Z6, but only been in a stock Viper GT. Gotcha. Yeah, I will say, I mean, I've had my share of cars, but I've never personally owned anything more than 800 horsepower. And I can say that I have been very privileged to know a lot of people to experience some shit. And it really does humble that aspect of you to know what's out there. And I know I rant a lot about a lot of sims and realism, but until you experience that level of realism, you have to understand why I get so pissed off when, like, if you realistically, like, if you were to honestly duplicate real car grip into a sim, you would be bored in the sim. You would turn TC all the way off every car you got in, and you would just rip around the track and barely chirp the tires. It's insane the level of grip cars have. But the problem is that a sim can't duplicate fear. It can't make you scared to push. So they have to force an element into the game that prevents you from pushing right to the limit. Difficulty. Yes, straight line grip is very different from cornering grip, absolutely. But 500 horsepower is not hard to put down in a turn. It's not. So I had a Boss 302 here. Here, I'll show you. I mean, I'm sure you've seen and I've chatted about this before, but by comparison, I want to just do I want to run a hypothetical by you. All right, so this is the engine bay from my Boss 302. This here made 475 with a tire, naturally aspirated, 5 liter, revved. I want to say I revved at 8,000. And it made 475 at the tire, and GT3 Mustangs typically make about 550 at the motor. It is not public information as to what they make at the tire, but what I can tell you is it's probably about what this car made for power. This is a street car. Front and rear suspension, tubular everything, tubular K member. It was fundamentally a race car in street car form. The amount of cornering grip this car had in first gear with no assist of any kind. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm a friggin' idiot. What a dumbass. Thank you. I'm glad someone's paying attention. It's not a car. It's my engine bay. That's the engine bay. The car was 30... It was either 3,150 or 3,200 pounds. And I believe a GT3 car is up to 2,900 pounds. So the GT3 car has the advantage of a little bit less weight, right? So yes, you could make the argument that the weight makes the car have a little less grip because it's lighter. And typically it's harder to put down power when something's lighter. However, this car was put together primarily by me and then with the occasional help from my buddy who runs a speed shop. And this car fundamentally had the most insane level of corner. Like, I mean, it's a Boss 302. But at the same time, it's the same thing as every other S197 Mustang that's ever existed, right? And just has a badass motor in it. So if this car, if I struggle to break the tires free on a DOT competition style tire, you mean to tell me a GT3 car is worse? Like, you are taking every bit of modern day technology and putting it into a certain class of race car. And this car was arguably a dinosaur from a technology standpoint with similar power, but a little bit heavier. And this car could just put power down like a son of a bitch. Like, if it was a straight line, I'm talking like I had to put a street tire on it if I wanted to have fun, like kicking the car out sideways and stuff. If I put like a really good, so like a 555 R2 or a Toyo triple R? I think it's Toyo triple R. Essentially a competition DOT tire. I'm talking if I tried to sidestep the clutch in a straight line in first gear, it would go brrr, and it would just hook with 475 hitting the tires instantly. It was dumb how much grip it had. So that's why I get frustrated. Yes, R888. Thank you. Thank you, Low and Slow. That car had so much grip. And that's why I get frustrated when it's like, oh, the entire world's technology goes into this badass GT3 race car variant of something you've personally had. And you're trying to tell me that it works worse than what I had. I'm sorry, I don't believe you. Genuinely. I mean, maybe I'm sure there's elements at play, weather. I'm not talking about rain. I'm not talking about racing in 20 degrees or whatever like that. Fahrenheit, I mean, not Celsius. But I'm talking about comparable conditions. If it's a warm summer day, I can tell you that from my experience, I have a hard time keeping tires from getting too hot. If I'm going to lose grip, it's because they're too hot, not because they're too cold. Let me see if I can. I don't have many pictures of it with the road race wheels and tires on it. I have primarily the straight line stuff. That was my favorite setup for the car. This is one picture of it. This is you can see the drag race or the friggin' the skinnies on the front. I'm looking for. Once I put the blower on it, I no longer cared about turning anymore. It just now the car makes 800. And it's front heavy. Now the car had trouble hooking. This is it in its drag pack. This is actually this is actually when it was still an A car. I wouldn't say it's a sleeper because it's an orange Mustang and it's on big ass tires in the back and skinnies in the front. But if you put the street wheels and the competition tires on all four corners, it looked like every other Mustang. But front to back, 100% of that car was essentially a race car. Cosmetically, it was a stock-looking car. I love it. I miss that. I wish I never got rid of this car. Here's another angle of it. This is I ended up switching over to I got sick and tired of dealing with skinny front tires, especially with 800 horsepower, so I just put on the front wheel and tire combo, and that was my permanent setup. But, like, even, that's the thing, though, with the blower on this car in a straight line, this is the same kind of tire I had on it, but instead of it being on an 18, it's on this is a 15 or a 16. I want to say it was a 15. This car had incredible grip. Obviously not turning, though. It was not set up for that anymore. No, it took the front sway bar out of it, turned it into strictly a straight line car. Where is... And for those wondering if I'm fabricating horsepower numbers, hold on, where is this stupid-ass picture? Where is it? Is it? Nope, that's not it. That's 446. Oh, nope, that's not it. That's only 400. 446 again. I have so many stupid ass. My buddy owned a dyno, so I was on the dyno every week playing with shit. That's what this dyno sheet is, actually. The Boss manifold of the Cobra Jet. It was actually kind of disgusting how much power the car picked up. And these are, by the way, all these... I'm not a dyno guy, but in this particular scenario, I spent a metric fuck ton of time on the dyno doing honest back-to-back tests. And... oh, here we go. This is Boss 302 manifold, 451 versus the Cobra Jet setup. SAE, not STD. Motorcycles are all STD. Smoothing 0, which is why this is jagged. This is essentially driveline vibration, buzzing like that. But right here, this here 451 392. That is the Boss manifold, and then the 475 is this guy right here. But yes, there was a gain to be had. And the thing is now, the new motors are even better. That was a 2012 motor, you know? Yeah, I missed that car a lot. That was a good car. I wish I never put a blower on it. That ruined it. That absolutely ruined the car. Should have kept it naturally aspirated. Old ass picture, but give you an idea. Wastegated. Well, the Boss manifold, when it comes to the normal GT manifold, is a rob Peter to pay Paul situation. It loses a lot of power in the mid-range and moves it up top, but it doesn't gain a lot of peak power. So it's probably only like about 5 or so more peak horsepower, but it revs it out a good 500-600 RPM more than the GT manifold. But, yeah, I missed this car. This is a good time. I don't know if I have any videos of it. Where are we at here? Let's see. I might have to look on YouTube because I'm pretty sure I offloaded everything out of my computer. View my channel. And by the way, guys, for those who don't understand the whole subscriber count thing versus the streaming or the sim racing community, just look on my YouTube channel. It's really, like, it's weird. So one guy randomly one day when I first started streaming and doing the sim racing content, one guy randomly says that you clearly botted to get that level of subscribers because you only have 100 views on this video. Like, no, I only have like 97 subscribers that are here for sim racing. It doesn't take a detective to go click on my YouTube and scroll down and just keep on scrolling down. And I've deleted a boatload of videos, and all my podcasts are deleted. I do want to bring the podcast back though. Oh, this thing was awesome. Anybody ever driven a Vanderhall? Like I said, I've had the luxury of having experiences. I'll say that. And a lot of my experiences have come by way of other people, and I am grateful for that. But let me attempt to show you an example of that. Pause the music. Unmute the tube.
Anymore. The scene kind of died. If you know what.
All right, I don't want to ramble. This is a Vanderhall. This thing is called. Here, this is back in the day. Hold on, let me get to the intro.
Oh, so you pulled down to shift. Oh, this thing's nasty. I need it. I need this in my life.
Oh, that's a real song. That was before monetization. I think that's still. Yep, that's Tri-State Racing. Look at that. Look at that. That's old school right there.
What are you doing here?
Oh, Jesus. I was this kid's wrestling coach.
Oh, I was told to come down.
That's how I knew I was officially too old
to
to be going to parking lot meets for cars. When a kid that I helped coach wrestling
is that the car scene up here
was there in a car.
It's all camber, and I want this thing more than anything else, to be honest with you. I just want to cruise around and shit like this.
Dude, this thing is, I mean, it doesn't make any power. It's slow as balls, but God, was it a cool car. I mean, it's hard to call it a car, but, let's see. The 30, what's this one? Here's an old one. I had a busted, so I remember this. I had a bad transmission in the car, so I had to shift it slower. And it was the most aggravating thing when it comes to racing a car is like, or in this situation here, is where I know I could shift the car substantially faster, and I'm forced not to because it's busted up. Bad synchros. It's holding on by a thread, and I'm trying not to break it. For all you Aussies out there, that's a Holden Monaro, or the new variant of the Holden Monaro, aka Pontiac G8. This is on my YouTube, by the way. I'm literally watching my own YouTube videos on YouTube. You guys right now are watching me watch my own YouTube.
Hey, want to do a dig?
Oh, yeah. It's a nitrous G8, by the way.
Hold on, let me pump my clutch back up.
We got a car coming, so we'll do it quick.
All right.
Fun fact, too. These guys are cops. Statute of limitations, I can say whatever I want. My car there, I think, made 430 horsepower. So remember, it was 475 by the time I was done with it from the, so it was quite a bit peppier. I want to find the more recent one because I raced him with the 475 horsepower setup, and he put a cam in it and doubled the shot of nitrous, and the race looked exactly the same. It was a little, I should lie, it was a little bit better. Yeah, so he was on a 75 shot in that video, a full bolt-on car, 75 shot. And now in this one, this is from his perspective. This is that car at 475 horsepower, or 75 wheel. Remember, it's got to be wheel. So this is Mustang GT3 horsepower right here versus a G8, or in this case, a New Edge Holden Monaro cam. So I want to say this car made 415 at the tire on motor, and then a 150 shot on top of it. These are the days. I miss these days. The sound of a mod motor going 8,000 RPM. I do love it. The G8s are heavy as shit. Yeah, they're. I mean, I want to say his was. He had a good amount of weight out of his, but I want to say his was still like 4,300 pounds or some crazy shit. There's a reason why he makes. I want to say it was that car made like 600 on that 150 shot, because obviously the number isn't always a guarantee of a horsepower number. It's always just kind of a range. But yeah, so how does a 475 horsepower car pull away from a 600 horsepower automatic car? Well, it's not because it's the same weight, that's for sure. I gotta fix this stupid shit here. Taskbar. I had my taskbar on the regular, but for some reason, when you have too many things, Windows sucks. Windows just sucks. Let's see. Don't have many car videos left on here because I deleted all that. Well, it's all unloaded from the tube. Oh, this was back when my the boss only had a catback on it. A catback and a tune, sorry. So this was I mean, you can just read the video right here. If you use bike community logic, then it's a built motor, obviously. So this was, God, look at this video quality. That was peak in 2012 right there. 720p. That's the upload. That's the best I could do then. Filmed in Canada. Upload from 8 years ago. So yeah, this was catback, air intake, tune, typical stupid ricery stuff, you know. And then this car was full exhaust, intake, and then it had a cam in it. And oh, it's got an open exhaust, which is what's making all the noise here. I let out because I guess he didn't hear me go because his car was so damn loud. Like I beeped right there, and he just, I thought he didn't go. He did go late. So the second one, I would think I gave him, I don't know if I gave him the hit or whatever the hell it was, but we'll see. Truth be told, it really wasn't that fast. The Camaro was just that slow. Man, bringing it back right now. But yeah, so like, I always get frustrated when I see video games tell me that these 500 horsepower cars can't put power down, even in a straight line. Like, yeah, no, they can. They absolutely have more grip than this, I promise you. I don't need to drive one to know that. I've driven inferior cars. There's no way superior cars get less traction. Like, I don't believe you. This might be... Yep, can't play that. Like, here's an example of... So this is my low and slow. This is my ZX-10. This is a very cookie-cutter ZX-10. This was stock wheelbase. 3 rotors. Like, basic-ass bike. And, like, this is peak. Like, look, this is not an exaggerated horsepower number here. This is legitimate. RPM actually featured this car at the time. This was in 2017, I believe. Yeah. Yep. At one point, he wants an 80 roll. 80 miles an hour start. And he starts to, like, stop my pull, but then it looks like he might start to come around, and then he has to shift again, and it's over. I think it's this one. Impressive car, but that's the reality of what it takes to beat a cookie cutter modern day 1000cc motorcycle. You know, now you're really going to see what it takes. This is, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Turans. These are a fast set of they're both Turans. The guy with the vet too, but this is his younger brother. Clearly has the faster car. You're gonna see what some horsepower looks like. Oh yeah, this is at. He tried to sandbag me and say that. You'll see. He thought he could beat me at a lower power number, and then the next race you'll see. So, you'll see. I don't know why I'm narrating this. I say it all in these videos. Mind you, I have no idea where he is. I'm not looking behind me. I'm on a motorcycle. Wipe that music down. But, yeah, I do miss those days. Those were some fun days. But that's why I've, retired my ass off. You know? Like, actually, there's one more video I want to show. Actually, I do have. Give some, like, perspective. Oh, why did you just do that? Just full screened on my second monitor from my main one. Right here. Thank you. Yeah, so this is Low and Slow. This is in I believe Atlanta. At their spot. By the way, the police actually allow, like, they're there and it's the street. Pretty cool. This was a grudge race. This was me and what's his name? Manny. We technically went 1-1. And we were supposed to run it back, and it's been 5 or 6 years now, and we haven't re-raced ever. But we also don't even have remotely close to the same kind of bikes to race, but we have much faster bikes now, obviously. But anyway, so this is perspective. These are, well, one of them's a stock engine. Wink, wink. I want to say that flyby was like 195 or so. GPS. I won. Just going to throw that out there. I won. Let's see. And I got so many old videos. So many old videos. Anyway, I don't want to bore you guys with videos, so I'm going to leave this up to you, right? Good amount of you watching. Would you prefer me go down history and play some videos? Or would you prefer I get in a car and just drive around in a sim? I'm okay with either. I'm here to chill. Tonight's a chill night. That's what we're doing tonight. I'm mostly just testing out the new internet, streaming at 50,000 bitrate, so we bumped it up quite a bit from 20. Just trying to test it out, make sure she don't drop frames and do all that kind of bullshit, so. Would I ever consider doing Isle of Man? Homie. I got out of what I do because of fear of dying, ultimately. That's the number one thing that got me out of it. I lost my nerve. Isle of Man, 1 to 2 people die per year. There was I can't remember what race it was. There was a particular race where the first person who died didn't stop the race. And then a second person died. And they went, you know what? Let's stop today's race. So, Anthony, hell no. There are no, at least in motorsports anyway, no braver human beings on the damn planet than people who race Isle of Man. That shit is insane. I've always had like fantasies of being able to do it because it's so badass, but I'm good. I don't have the talent, but more than anything else, I don't have the balls. You have to be so mentally unstable and just do not care at all about the potential of that to be able to do that. These guys are doing the mile an hour that I just passed that camera at, passing on cobblestone walls. I'm good. It looks fun until you see the guy slide at 200 miles an hour in a wall and there's a giant ball of flames. And one thing I can tell you, and we're going to go slightly dark for a very, very brief second here, but I've unfortunately seen in person too many times what it looks like when a human being on a motorcycle makes impact with a stationary object at 200 miles an hour. Spoiler alert, it looks like what you imagine. It's comic book level gore. So, trust me, there's enough seared into this brain to go, you know what? I'm going to watch, Guy Martin and those guys have at it. You guys take that one. I'm good. No, not a chance in hell. It's so cool, but absolutely not. I would love to go there and watch a race 100%. Compete. Pause. Let's see. Reminds you of your days with a twin turbo 300ZX roll racing every weekend. Yeah, I honestly miss the days where roll racing was not like, it's not what it is today. Well, you could have if you had a 500 horsepower car in like 2008 and you showed up to like the race spot, yo, bro. Yo, the king is here. The king is here. Nowadays, if you show up with 500 horsepower, you're going to get groceries in your Camry. Like, that's what you just showed up with, you know? Local friend. Oh, hold on. I forgot. I knew we were a little dry right now. Hold on. Here we go. Let's get some music going. Local friend in a CTSV thought he could beat up on a bike I tuned, OHX1K, head cam, little nitrous, and he was running his mouth all week to a friend, and the bike was supposed to be motor only. But that changed, and CTSV was ported blower, built motor, etc. Maybe 900, where the 08 made 203 on motor, E85. Yeah, a 900 horsepower, especially in a CTSV, has got absolutely nothing for even an old 1000cc bike. There is always, like, it's very important to have experienced the potentials of a car and the potentials of a bike to properly be able to gauge what should and should not happen when you compare them, especially in a straight line. Cars will always have a top-end advantage because of aerodynamics. Motorcycles are some of the worst moving objects in the atmosphere. A Hayabusa is hands down the best, and it's still less aerodynamic than a minivan. Miss driving the coastal roads of Ireland on my yellow CBR 600. Nothing gets the adrenaline going like being on a bike. I agree. What about Dude Mungus, low and slow? Most sim racers have no idea what 800 the tire feels like, and that's like a big part of why I try to not preach, even though I get preachy. I know. I apologize. But when I get like frustrated that like some of these cars in these sims drive like they do, it's like, yeah, I don't need to drive this particular car. I can just assume that based off of what I've driven, which is similar in power, and I put it together, I know that I got more grip than this thing. So you mean to tell me this team with millions of dollars and all the technology on the planet somehow is worse? Fun fact, they're not worse. They're in every way better. So the sim is just what's wrong, trying to tell you that, oh yeah, no, you don't have this traction. I do. You just need to make the game difficult for the sake of creating a challenge. And I get it. I'm not against it. But there are some that just go a little too far with it, you know? iRacing. Anyway. Let's see. Keep the videos. This is great. Okay, we'll do some videos. We'll do some videos. Let's see. Isle of Man looks so fun. No, not race. Just go to watch, obviously. You could see the last of the Dunlops. Oh, yeah. Could see the last of the Dunlops before he gets killed, yeah. Michael Dunlop. I love listening to the broadcasters, too. They're the guys who broadcast it and narrate the races while it's happening. Oh, man, you know they're just sitting there going like, oh, my God. We at any given moment could witness a human being explode. We hope it doesn't. But we're prepared. You see the guy right up the wall when he went wide? I'm not sure which one you're referring to. You've got to try some road course stuff on a bike. I've considered buying myself a beater and just because here's my biggest problem with road racing, my own personal shit anyway. I'll never push it anywhere near a limit. Because I don't want to crash it. Not because I'm worried about the crash, because I don't want to cost myself money. Straight line's a lot easier to not crash. Road racing in a motorcycle is very easy to crash. Like, substantially easier than a car. Because your car doesn't need a kickstand. So, when you're going into a turn just a little too quick and you get that little bit of oversteer in a car, that's called a low side on a bike. And that either leads to a low side crash or a low side slide followed by a rear tire lockup and then a high side where the rider goes whoop and gets tossed off the bike. And the bike barrel rolls and explodes and it's done forever. A car goes Burr, and you're good. That's it. That's the end of the that exact same scenario on a car is literally called oversteer, not a guaranteed crash. On a motorcycle, it's pretty much a guaranteed crash. So for me to properly enjoy road racing on a motorcycle, I need to buy like a $3,000 beater that if I crashed it or whatever, I just leave it on the track. They can take the parts. You know? They have the open track day where everyone can ride Isle of Man. I assume you don't mean on their bikes. I assume you mean like casually. Can't drag me in a car, though? No, but I can tell you this. I have far more interest in road racing cars than I do bikes. I have far more interest in straight line racing bikes than I do cars. I'm the kind of a bass-ackwards person in that sense. My next thing, if I ever do it, is to build the most badass, I shouldn't say the most badass, but within the limits of funds, a Monster Miata or MX-5. For the out of staters. I want to build a typical LS motored MX-5. Absolutely tear it up. Yeah, snap steer on a bike is a high side, exactly. You know, because on a bike, best case scenario is when it starts to low side, it just I shouldn't say when it starts to low side. That's the crash. When the rear tire starts to slide, it just slides out, and that's how you crash. The bike goes for a slide, you go for a slide, they both come to a complete stop, and that's the end of the crash. The worst case scenario is when it starts to slide, and you start to catch it, and then it catches, and then you high side. And now all of a sudden that rear tire was just in a slide, locks, and now the bike goes this way. And then you literally get snapped off the bike, go for a ride, and then the bike does a barrel roll, and that's usually where you see the frame and the wheels go in opposite directions. There's nothing left to recover. That's a total loss from every part. There's nothing salvageable. Best case, you salvage the tires because they're rubber. The open day is your bike. I don't know what limitations are for it, though. Just, you know, I don't know what you just said, Low and Slow. You typoed the shit out of that. Oh, no, that wasn't Dude Mungus. No, it wasn't. You become a human catapult. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Low and slow. I'll YouTube what a high side is for the people who don't know. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right. This is what a high side crash is. So, essentially here, he's coming through this turn, and then when he comes back around, the rear tire starts to slide. He catches it, but the thing is, it's not a where when a car comes sideways, you have an ample amount of time to save it. The average, I shouldn't say the average, but most people who can handle racing a car can react in time to save it. On a motorcycle, there is such a tiny little amount of time to save it that most people, the best in the business, do not save it. This is what it looks like. Coming around here, the next turn, the rear tire starts to slide, and then he snaps. Boop! That's a high side. Watch that in low speed. Starts right there. So it's coming into this turn. Tire starts to slide right there. Boop. All takes right there. That tire is sliding out. And a low side is the tire completes its slide, and he just slides. That's the crash. In this case, this is a high side. The tire gets traction after it slides, and it snaps the bike up and throws the rider off of it. Starts to spin. Hooks. Whoop! Ragdoll time. As much as that hurts, doesn't hurt as much as you think. It's more of like I got bruised up. Maybe a broken bone, but these suits are phenomenal, dude. I've seen guys crash and just, they're fine. They'll sprint to another bike and continue the race. There's a reason why these guys are running to the friggin' bike. They want to make sure the bike doesn't explode. They know the rider's going to get up. This one wasn't a violent one, no. Oh, this is going to be a much better angle. Watch the rear tire. Good, good. Slides. Right there. Hooks. Woo! And then the bike does its flips. This bike actually got lucky in the sense where it didn't actually continue to barrel roll. It just flipped one time and then slid the rest of the way. But meanwhile, this poor bastard, face in the dirt. Yep. I've been there with just the helmet on. Yep. I hear you. Can confirm they're good. Exactly. Exactly. There's a reason why the tech ran to the bike and not the rider. The bike is, in this particular situation, this is much more of a hazard condition, the bike, than the rider. The rider, worst case scenario, he's knocked unconscious or he's got some broken bones. But there's a good chance he's perfectly fine. There's a good chance this thing is a bomb waiting to go off. Or at the very least, catch on fire. So... Ah, the good old days. Bike I put together. That was my first taste of drama, by the way. I'm not I'm sure some of you guys, sim racing guys here that are here, saw some of like the drama today. I'm not new to that stuff. Like this particular bike here, this black one. Oh, hold on, you can't see it. What a dumbass, I took it off the screen. This particular bike here, this black one, in in 2017. They're from Quebec. They brought me the bike, and this tuner, the previous tuner of this bike, the guy who worked on this bike, has a shop, a full-fledged, like, 7-figure shop, by the way. Publicly came after me, made up a bunch of stuff, slandered me, dragged me through the mud, and I said nothing. And it only worked. It only helped me. Good press is, or bad press is good press. But anyway, he was extremely upset that that bike went substantially faster after I had it. Dramatic. I'm telling you guys, racing in general is a very, very, very dramatic world. I wish it wasn't. I wish it was more casual, but... And that's a big part of why I am staying casual with the sim racing thing. I've been there, done that, seen all the drama possibles. It sucks. Trust me. Like, here we go. Here's a prime example. I started playing this one the other day. Let's continue.
And when I was watching him, and all of a sudden he was like, "Oh shit, Chris Tart's here." I was like, "Ah, motherfucker!"
Remember this video, slow and slow?
Hey, but listen now, I ain't lying now. I done heard my name in them damn podcasts 3 times. Now I said, "Listen, motherfucker, I'm here on the 4th one. What's up?" Hey, I even did some dumb shit. I dropped my number on there. I said, "Call me, goddammit." And I left my number publicly. I said, "Get me on, goddamn. I don't give a fuck who tries to scam me."
Just so you know, the only thing I'm guilty of with this particular guy ranting right now is ignoring them. Like, professional tier ignored this person. And the more I ignored them, So basically what I'm playing here is an Instagram audio clip where he sent all of these things to someone that I knew. And this person that I knew was actively sending me the clips. Just seeing just antagonizing this guy. He was literally antagonizing this guy and making him say these things, like playing along, like, "Oh, that EJR guy's a piece of shit. Yeah, I agree." And then he was just sending me all the clips. And I made this video. I couldn't help it. I could not help it.
Call me, whatever. I'll hang up on your goddamn ass. But listen, I wanted him to call me right then. But he didn't, because guess what? Motherfucker, I called his bluff, didn't I? Did I not? You know what's funny is EJR has his own little thing going on, his own clique and shit. But listen, when Chris Tart shows up, I also can, do the do and keep the stay in Vegas. I talk my shit too, goddamn.
Low key, that's a pretty good expression. Do the do and keep the stay in Vegas. I like that. I like that phrase.
We can go at it. But it's like, listen, man, he don't fucking intimidate me one bit. What I got to do is offer him something, but he just don't want to listen. Listen, I even talked to Ricky the other day, and Ricky Gasson told me,
yeah,
he said, "Listen,
you know who this
Evan
is,
just
Chase.
thinks he's
You know
Mr.
who this
Kawasaki
is.
now, and if you have something to say or offer him, he's not going to listen to you because he thinks he's the king." Listen, now, I ain't going to lie to you. He done blocked me on everything. Everything he's done blocked me, because if you disagree with him or you argue with him, he's just going to run away like a scared little girl. You know what was funny is, the thing about that YouTube shit.
I don't entertain drama. I really don't. It's funny because I'm always involved with it in some way because, I don't know, I offend people. But literally, all I've done to this guy is ignore them because they're just the definition of an unsolicited opinion. Anyway, so in his mind, by ignoring him and just blocking his ridiculousness, I ran away like a scared little girl.
You know what was funny is, the thing about that YouTube shit is like, it's kind of got a delay. Now, once I put something there, then he'll see it later, and then he'll be like, oh, Chris Tart's here. Oh, shit. He's like, oh, hell. Or then he'll see something, and then he'll read something and says, "Oh, Chris Tart's like Tiger King." Yeah. But it's kind of like, Evan keeps pushing it away, Oh, let's don't talk about Chris Tart. Let's don't do this. Listen, man,
Nobody's
I'm
ever
just
seen
here
Tiger
to
King.
fucking shoot the shit. Do the do, keep staying in Vegas, and make everybody fast and have fun. But Evan, now listen, Evan does not want you to say something better than him or be better. He always wants to be on top. Even Ricky told me that. But listen, I love Evan.
He's talking about Ricky
and
Gatson, by the way. And Ricky literally messaged me after this being like, "Dude, I said," after I made this video, he's like, "Dude, I said none of those things." And I believe Ricky in this sense because this is one of those guys that looks in the mirror and just, flexes, but doesn't work out. He's one of those. So anyway, here. He says all this about me, but then says he loves me.
Say something better than him or be better. He always wants to be on top. Even Ricky told me that. But listen, I love Evan, and I get on Evan's nerves. Evan don't get on mine, is what I mean. It's like I feel like I'm poking the bear, but he don't want to talk to me. It's crazy though, but it's true. Yeah, man. The funny thing is, though, brother, it's like, man, I've been hearing my name circulate in them, last 3 podcasts and shit like this, that, and the other. But
by the way, it's other people talking about him in chat.
He said, these my GP Tech wheels, this and that. No, I said, listen, motherfucker, hey, I'm the one that bought the very first set of GP Tech wheels that was ever supposed to come to the United States. But guess who bought them? Evan did. You know what? Evan got my wheels because I canceled that order because Brock's son told me. Brock's son even begged me not to cancel my order. I said, no, I'm not. I said, listen, it's going to be a fucking year before I get them. No, it's true. Evan.
I want to just relay here that this person said that the wheels that are on my motorcycle are his wheels because he ordered them and canceled the order. And I picked up the order, which is what happened. He initially ordered them. They were the first set of those wheels, period. First set of manufactured of that particular wheel. He put in an order, waited for like a year, canceled his order, never got wheels, never got anything. I don't even think his money left his account. He just canceled the order. And then Brock's son called me. He's like, hey, so-and-so canceled their order for these wheels. They're in the system. Do you want them? Do you want to assume this order? I was like, yeah, whatever. Put me in for them. A couple weeks later, they showed up and I had them. He's saying right there that those are his wheels because he was the one who essentially pre-ordered them but canceled his pre-order. And I picked up the order. So they're his wheels. That was his argument right there. Let's play it again.
That was ever supposed to... No, I said, listen, motherfucker, hey, I'm the one that bought the very first set of GP Tech wheels that was ever supposed to come to the United States. But guess who bought them? Evan did. You know what? Evan got my wheels because I canceled that order because Brock's son told me. Brock's son even begged me not to cancel my order. I said, no, I'm not. I said, listen, it's going to be a fucking year before I get them. No, it's true.
It was 2 weeks.
Actually, it's been 10 months. But I got crooks.
He waited 10 months. But it was 2 weeks later.
Evan has lighter wheels now, but I don't give a fuck. There's only like 2 or 3 ounces difference, maybe a pound, but I don't care. Man, I was ready to ride and race. I wasn't waiting a fucking year on them goddamn GP Tech wheels. Evan knows that those are my wheels on his bike. Listen, motherfuckers don't believe me. I still got the email saved. Brock told me. Brock Davison, Brock's Performance, congratulations, Chris Tart. You just bought the first set of GP Tech wheels coming to America and blah, blah, blah. This, that, no, blah, blah.
No, you didn't. There's no email that says that.
Well, guess what? I had to wait a month or 2. Then they said it was going to be a couple months. Then they said it was going to be 4 months. I said, fuck this. Cancel that goddamn order. Cancel the order. I'm getting me some Krups. I know they're a little bit heavier, but I don't care. I'm ready to ride. And then Brock's son called me and said, Chris, please don't cancel that order. Then I promise you right now, 2 days later, Brock's son called me and said, Chris, guess who just bought them wheels you canceled on? I said, who? He said, Evan did. I said, God damn, really? Hey, and somebody just tried to call me out in the comment section and say, Evan ordered them a year ago. I'm like, what the fuck ever, motherfucker? Yeah, them was Chris Tart's wheels he's got on his bike, but I canceled on that shit. Evan wants to talk to me. He didn't even get me on live, so fuck him. I was there ready. You know what I mean? I ain't bullshitting, man. God damn. I don't know how many times I can say this. I've done heard my name 3 or 4 times on these shows. Now, I offered him the opportunity to get me on. Then he the motherfucker, the one that backed in the corner and didn't allow me on. So that's what I mean. Fuck him. I don't personally Say fuck. I don't personally dislike him, but I'm just like, fuck him then. He don't want me on the show, then fuck him.
This is what I do when people talk about me like this. Oh, it's so funny. And you guys want to listen to 3 to 4 hours of that? I have no words for that. And it's been like 8 minutes. I essentially made that video because so many people were asking me to have him on a podcast. And that was 8 minutes of listening to him just talk. And my podcast would go sometimes as long as 4 hours. So, like, what a world. Actually, you know what? No, let's do this. Live scroll here. Problem is, a lot of these old videos aren't monetized. Or they're, how is that? Music I played then was not demonetized, or I don't even know. Like, by the way, this is the definition of clickbait, just so you know. This was a clickbait test. My buddy's wife on his bike. Good looking girl. She's the thumbnail, right? Right here. She's not in the video at all. The bike is. It's all video. The video is him racing this motorcycle from the camera perspective, but she's not in it. 222,000 views. I had, I think, like, I want to say 1,500 subscribers then. Clickbait's a real thing that works. There are so many shitty ways to go about doing this stuff, and I don't want to be part of it, but, like, it's effective, you know?
Find out. Really good race for the. Don't know this. I can't. He's 6 stock otherwise. He's gonna jump in on the race.
So this is I believe the Vet is a 600 wheel horsepower Z06. Yeah, it says it right here. I can read my own writing. Head cam, NA car, and it's a supercharged 17 Mustang GT. And I'm in my pretty cookie cutter ZX10 right now.
Races too. I'm just playing cameraman right now.
And I'm just watching. I'm not like trying to race them. I'm just.
I think the plans are to do 80 rolls, which is.
This is an actual race where I just think, all right, I guess I'll go. I can't remember the last time I made a pull at nighttime, period. This is a 6-year-old video. Oh yeah, I'm with this. But yeah. This was actually not a clickbaity one. This was just a good description video. 271,000 clicks. But this was the first. Another, again, part of being in the industry is you get things first. So I got to try this first aim dash. There we go. Yeah. Today I've been using these bikes because the boring ass dash that's been on this bike since 2011 hasn't been updated even up to 2019. So anyway, I look back at some of these videos and it's like, man, how far technology has come between microphones, cameras, all that. And that was 6 years ago, something like that. This was good. We wanted to see what my buddy's Gixxer 750 could be. Oh, I don't want that audio. This is my buddy's Crash 750, racing some cars. This is yeah, 500 horsepower G8. Yeah, I could do this all day. Watch these videos, nostalgia to the face. Let's see. It's always funny because my weights all. Oh, this was yeah. Here you go. This is the Ricky Gatson one. This is the one that got me involved in all the drag racing drama. Where is it? Versus Ricky Gatson. I muted a little bit because of the music. Actually, no, wait. I think this song's good. This is Ricky Gatson here. For anybody here follows any motorcycle racing, you should know who Ricky Gatson is. And he came out to race me and see what it was like on the street. And this was the race. There. I was like 200 pounds here. I'm 145 right now, by the way. This is me on Bren's 2020 BMW. But this bike was also fuel cutting right here. Didn't have enough fuel. For this particular race, it was starving the pump. He didn't put enough fuel in it. So it gets its ass kicked. Back when GoPros didn't have stability control. It's 300 horsepower H2 right there. What else do I got? That's humongous.
That thing is running.
Also, for those guys who follow bike people, shout out Dude Mungus for kicking ass on YouTube. I don't know what he was here, but he is fragging now on let's pull him up. Oh, I don't know why I'm YouTubing YouTube right now. What a dope. Like, shout out Mungus. It's the guy riding my bike right now anyway. 464,000 subs. Good for you. Good for you. This is him test riding my Busa at the time. The Busa was pretty slow then too, but he had never ridden one before, so.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Holy crap! Oh! Wow! Oh wow! Oh yeah, that felt good. That felt good.
Anyway, all right, let's get away from this. Let's get away from this. I might do some laps quick and then probably call it. So what do we want to see if you had to pick? Let's see. Shut that. Play some music. What lap? What do you want? If you had to pick and choose a sim to see, what would you prefer to see? PMR, LMU, AMS2. Do I have AC Rally? I do have AC Rally installed, but I'm not playing that though. ACC, Rensport. Oh, that's right. I said I should play some Rensport, huh? Do Race Room because you couldn't figure out how to use it. Okay. Let's give him what he asked for. Where is my... But yeah, I want to find a way to implement the podcast back into the streaming space. I just don't know how to do it yet. How to do it right, I mean. I can just do it, but it didn't have enough growth. It really got stagnant for like, I'm talking like a year and a half, 2 years. It was very, very, very flat to the point where it was like, it was becoming harder to run them and not get anything out of it. You know, I like doing this stuff, but it's hard to justify grinding on something. It's one thing if you're doing it for fun and it's casual and you're having a good time, but when you start having it starts feeling like work, but it's not paying you, you know. Use the bathroom. Be right back. The question is, what car do you want to see me drive? Like, what kind of car? I definitely don't feel like doing a GT3. That's for sure. I'm thinking either hypercar, GT1, Hyper? Alright, Hyper it is. Wish they had the caddy, but they don't. Do adaptive AI. Let's do Watkins Glen. Why not? Never get to experience Watkins Glen and a lot of other ones. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of other ones. Mainly PMR. So... So of the viewers out there right now, are you watching for sim or are you watching for bikes? I know 225 here is for both. I wish there was more of them, guys who are into both, but it's It's a lot more divided than I thought it was going to be, honestly. I was expecting more people to, like, have a lot of interest in both, and it's really typically one or the other. And I am going to make an actual dedicated video on this subject, because there's a lot of people that, at least from what I've seen from a chatter standpoint, and I'm used to this, but are saying that I'm, like, basically approaching this sim racing thing from, like, a malicious standpoint. You know, there were a lot of things said today that was genuine misinformation, and it's speculatory, and I get it. People want to come up with their own reasons for why things are the way they are, but, you know. I'm in 10th. Oh, I don't want to be in reverse, that's for damn sure. I still think this is the best LMDH experience so far that I've driven in all these sims. PMR can get their LMDHs similar levels to this, I think they'll be pretty solid there. These cars just have so much rear grip by comparison to just a lot of these sims. Oh, you know what isn't right though? Is my steering. I forgot I gotta change. Oh, okay. Let's complain about PMR's AI, but I just got pitted by the Raceroom AI. I gotta change this temporarily here. My steering's not right. This game you have to do it manually, and I always forget. All right, so what's this car at? Where's the game? I'm in blind. Right there. So restart session. Car setup. We're at 448 degrees, so we gotta change that. I have to turn the wheel. Right now, I've turned the wheel twice as hard to get to the same angle. Alright, that's that. Let's confirm that the other thing is correct here, too. Yep. Okay. Alright, so do that again. You didn't see the PMR drama? You didn't miss much, in all honesty. You just missed drama. You've seen it a million times in the bike world. I wouldn't waste time. A lot of it was about me. Oops. There's the turning. That was interesting. I had no control over that. Like, it was numb. I couldn't even touch the throttle. What's my TC at right now? 24. What is the AI doing? I'm telling you, I know PMR. I was trying to say today, I know a lot of guys dislike the PMR AI. There's a lot of sims out there that have kind of roughish AI. Joey bag of donuts. Only thing about everything in this game is understeer. Every car needs a setup to not have understeer. They all aggressively understeer. And it's like, there's not really any cars that don't do it. It's just built into the way the car's handled by default. Driving is great, but the understeer is where they falter. If everything in Race Room had slightly better understeering scenarios, I think that the driving would be that much better. The only thing that holds them back. The Race Room is a very nice driving experience overall, though. Believe it or not, one of my favorite cars in this game is a GTR. You all know how much I don't really like GTRs. Ironically, one of my favorite cars in Gran Turismo 7 is a damn GTR. The GT1. Or GT2, sorry. I think it's GT2. I don't know why the car is always very OP. Watkins win since NASCAR 2000. Hey, look at that. Fastest lap is me. Look at that. Look at that. How's that for adaptive AI? Now they should go a little faster to break my record. What car sounds really good in this game is the Ford GT GT1 car. Did a really good job of figuring that sound out. Got that mod motor hum to it. That sounds really good in this. And there she blows. Yeah, no doubt PMR needs work. There's no way around that. Just try and exercise as much patience as you can. That's all you can do. All you can do. Let's do one more race and then I'm probably going to get off. My favorite track. Potentially my favorite car in this game, unfortunately. It's damn GTR. I want to be last, though. So tomorrow, provided I hear back about this Rensport shit, I'll be streaming Rensport. And competing in my own creator series. I don't know anything about it. Never done it before. They reached out, asked me if I wanted to participate. I said sure, why not? And that's pretty much the end of that. Here we are. AI in turn 1 in race room is pretty rough. I forgot we don't have TC in this car. I haven't really been doing any racing, Kai. I've been just rambling and talking. Talking motorcycle, talking sim racing, talking life. You know. This is actually my second race, and I screwed up by setting it to 5 laps, so I will not be completing it. We're just hanging out. If you're watching, Josh, how come you don't want to play? Or do you not have it? How do I like the new internet? Feels exactly the same. I mean, my upload speed numbers are 930 something megs higher, but feels the same. Again, I'm still using the same Asus router, so I actually lost download speed. It's kind of funny. My speed, my download speed before, I was paying for 1,000. I was getting 1150 down. Now I'm paying for 1,000 through fiber, and I'm getting 950 down. But I was only getting 35 up before. Now I'm getting 950 up, so. Understeer up! Understeer up! Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. That's what I had Spectrum. I have their gig or whatever their 1 gig plan was, but for some reason paying for 1,000 I would get 1150, and I don't know why. The only thing I can think of is they have it throttled through their actual router, and I have my Asus router, so I was essentially completely uncorked to whatever my service was, and I was getting 150 more than I was paying for. There we go. Okay, I've had enough. I'm not in the mood. I'll be honest with you. But yeah, race room tomorrow. I mean, that's the plan as of right now. We'll see if anything changes. But as of right now, the plan is going to be, what's it called? Rensport tomorrow. You know what? Screw it. Let's jump into Rensport. Let's at least get the 4th wheel dialed in, because I'm gonna be racing LMDH. That's my plan. But I should have, like, I just don't know what it's supposed to be in. If it's supposed to be in custom races, or if it's supposed to be in, like, the online lobby stuff. That's pretty good, Kai. That's pretty good. I gotta figure out why. So I might, for some reason, if I try and go to like 75,000 bitrate, I can't. The stream goes nutso. So I'm streaming in 50,000 right now, but I have a limitation somewhere, and I gotta figure out where it is, because I wanted to stream in 100,000. Because I got 950. What's 100 of it? Multiplayer. So, official contests, custom contests. I want to say it's supposed to be in here, but I honestly don't know. Official contest is this. This is their timed races. They're normal. There's 2 people playing right now. Jesus Christ. Alright, is anybody playing Rensport right now? Like, is anybody available? I'll jump in, or I'll do a race if there's someone around. Already 130 though, that's the problem. I bet I'm not showing the screen again. So right now, there's only 2 people signed up for races. I am curious what, is Rensport, Holy shit. This is the lowest I've seen this game ever. Look at that. Four people. I have to, you know, so they originally, before Christmas, they were promising a once-a-week patch for this game to do all sorts of stuff, and like, it's so crazy to me. I don't know what's like PMR. I actively talk to the devs. Like, I have a decent of idea of what's going on behind the scene. I have no idea what's going on behind the scene with this game. 2 people signed in for online lobbies right now. And I'm the 3rd of the 4. I mean, obviously this could be controller player, console player, sorry. Woof! You're one of them? What's the M2 anyway? How is the session full? There's 2 people in it. Oh, maybe refresh it. Running, that's why. Multi-class feature. This. Nope. Not anything I want to drive. Oh, I don't want to rejoin, I want to quit. Of course, I don't mean the minimum. Draw. Like, what do I do right now? Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know if it's my actual setup through Streamlabs or what, but I drop frames. I get stutters. And I did a test. I'm getting 950 through Wi-Fi. So, and I did a test on this computer, third-party test. I'm getting all 950 up. Yeah, like, I don't even know what to do right now in this. I have no idea where my... I guess I should probably have a backup plan for tomorrow in case this just doesn't work out. There's nobody, like... Quick Race is, let's see. I think it's only going to be single player. Well, unfortunately, the portion this is OP. Find a race to compete against other drivers. Searching for drivers. Well, the problem is, Kai, I was getting the frame drop when I wasn't playing a game. Just streaming. Matchmaking in progress. Yeah, no, what I was saying, though, is, oh, there you go, there's Josh. Welcome. What was I gonna say, yeah, so no, they were saying, they had all these things they were saying before Christmas break, 1 patch a week and stuff, like Christmas break. And, they were gonna be starting a 1 patch a week. But it's been just, like, people want to talk about being, like, how PMR is not communicating. These guys are posting up, like, you know, creator stuff like that, but I'm subscribed to this for, not subscribed, but I'm signed up to play for a week, so if it doesn't work out, I'm not gonna play it. I mean, that's the reality of it. I'm not forced to play. Yeah, I know, I'm speeding in the pit. Don't really give a shit. I should probably turn the line on because I don't know Fuji, like at all, like literally at all. So we're gonna put the line on. Y'all can sue me. The hell? What kind of practice was that? They set the race up for us. No, it's not VSync. Not VSync. It's purely a bandwidth versus bottleneck issue. I just don't know what the bottleneck is. I don't hate Fuji, I don't play it enough. And I'm terrible at it. Terrible at most tracks, but yeah, I get you holding off on it. Makes sense. All right. That was a whole lot of not stopping. Even though it's on the brakes, the entire... I forgot how their qualifying does it. You get a track limit and get slowed down immediately. I look forward to being not on a... Oh boy. Told you, I'm like, I have just... I don't know. Oh, Josh, you had to make me do it, huh? I should be watching TV right now. You get pole, obviously. I guess not. I guess I got pole. Man, you must have crashed your ass off. 4 seconds behind? Woof. Yeah, slowdowns in this are punishing for the quality, that's for sure. Treat your ass. The 3 tracks I have scheduled on the docket, provided it actually is a thing, is the Nordschleife, the Monza, and Daytona. 3 tracks that I know. Ish. None of this stuff. Car is very unstable compared to what I remember. Let's go back to the Mustang. That's how this car drives. Faster lap. Second purple sector. I think I feel like third should be a purple too. Yes, sir. What do you think? Did I get 3 purples? Or did I blow it? Uh-oh. Josh, you faded into the blue abyss. Yep, 3 purples. I don't think I'm going to do it again, though. Oh, slower. Close it. Not a lot of detail in the front end, like force feedback. Like I just really don't feel what the car's doing. I can visibly see that I'm understeering, but I really can't feel it. I don't know where that limit is of like, I'm understeering, I'm not understeering. Kind of just feels like I'm going, you know? Hey, and 2 more purples. Time left in this race. That was the last lap. Oh, don't blow it, Evan. That was terrible. Cancel my current lap, you prick. But this is also why I make the argument, too, that a game isn't dead based off of player count online. If you have a friend that has a video game and you can 1v1, there's a reason to have a game. Why is the car sliding like that? Do you guys see that? I think all 4 of my tires were on like dollies and I was just moving sideways without any tire skid. That was a weird one. Forza Motorsport and Rennsport. Good job, Josh. Good job. Good job. Hey, look at that. I'll be level 13, whatever that means. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get a whole lot of feedback as to like how I'm driving. I'm just sort of... The only reason I was getting faster there wasn't because like of anything I was getting from the game. I'm just learning how to drive the car. Oh, drive at least 1 lap on each track. Look at that. I'm a globetrotter. What are quick play races left? Yeah. I don't want to do either of these tracks. All right, I'm getting out of Rennsport. I got a week of this shit. Potentially. Yeah, I will say their connectivity is pretty solid, you know. I don't have much time in any of the Assettos outside of comp, but I still don't have a lot of time in it. AMS2 112, I mean PMR got 200 hours in. Le Mans 12, just enough to feel things out. Race Room 60. But the thing is that, like, I don't sim race off stream. So what you guys see me doing is basically what I'm doing. I very rarely play with people off stream to do anything with it. I usually, like, I'll try out an update or something like that, maybe off stream and see how things are going or feel something out. But for the most part, I don't play. I save it for the stream. Maybe. We'll see, Kai. We'll see. I mean, it feels just emptied. There's not a whole lot of reason to play it. I mean, I can make that argument for a lot of games, honestly, but anyway. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna go chill out for a little bit before I go to bed because I got a long week in front of me potentially with Rensport. But I did want to try out tonight's stream, do a little chatty Cathy stuff, hang out, and then you know, test out the stream. I do got to play with the bitrate a little bit more. I know 50 is stable right now, no issues, no hiccups, no nothing. But can't seem to get above that. So I don't know. I'll twist some knobs. We'll figure things out. But anyway, folks, I'm gonna be back on Words Are Hard. Yeah, I have well over 1,000 in Gran Turismo. That's where I spent most of my time when it came to playing video games and racing anyway, was Gran Turismo. And the problem now is that I have so many of them to play all at once that I don't want to like overwhelm myself. So that's another thing too, by the way. I stream a lot, and this is not my job. So that's another reason I only sim race on stream. There's also the whole not trying to exhaust myself doing it or exhaust myself with it. And also, I need time for other things. So anyway, folks, I'll be back on at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. I might get on a little bit early to sort of organize the Rensport stuff if it is still, I'm waiting for them to contact me back because I asked them, like, hey, where are the races supposed to be in terms of, like, me finding them? I didn't be able to tell people where to go. I probably should ask ahead of time. It's my own fault. But I assumed I'd be able to find it easier, and I can't. So, yeah. Anyway, folks, thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for going down memory lane with me. It's always fun. And I'll see you all tomorrow at 11. Get some sleep. Take care.